and we're starting with Raw, and in the days leading up to the Day 1 show, a former WWE champion was teased to be returning, and sure enough, Jinder Mahal made his grand return to Monday nights. In a move that clearly disappointed fans at the arena, Mahal ran down the United States and spoke about divisions in the country before being interrupted by the actual name WWE had teased. That turned out to be The Rock, who's not one to let someone off the hook for insulting his country, and in turn gave Mahal an unfavorable nickname, labeling him a Day 1 douchebag. Addressing Mahal's insults against the US, Rock said that Jinder is no Iron Sheik, and did a Sheik impression as he called Mahal a... which had to be bleeped out. After taking out Mahal with the people's elbow, Rocky delivered a shocking announcement as he teased the long-awaited showdown with Roman Reigns. The Rock asked the fans in the crowd if they want to see him as head of the table, which sparked a fiery response from the crowd, especially as it could mean plenty of future appearances. The Brahma Bull has said that he and his cousin were set to headline WrestleMania 40 before plans fell apart, and with his return, we have to ask, what's next for The Rock? WWE's next major event will come this month at the Royal Rumble, and the last time the Great One was at the event, he was trying to get Roman Reigns over with the fans at 2015. We know that Reigns will be at this year's event on January 27th, and in the likely event he retains the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship, a stare-down to end the show could be in store. Of course, The Rock isn't the only man who's had his eyes on the Tribal Chief, as Cody Rhodes has been adamant on finishing his story, and that desire has only grown since his loss at WrestleMania 39. Cody has already declared for the Men's Royal Rumble match, and many predicted a rematch with Reigns in April, but now The Rock has the chance to put Cody's plans in serious jeopardy. WWE needs to book a one-off segment between Rock and Rhodes in the lead-up to the potential Rock vs. Reigns match, and who knows, perhaps fists could fly between the Great One and the American Nightmare. This time 2 months ago, Cody winning the Men's Rumble match seemed a given, but that was before this appearance by The Rock, as well as the return of CM Punk. Punk has his own history with the Great One, as his 434-day WWE title run ended at The Rock's hands in 2013, and now Punk faces the risk of being overshadowed by Rock again. Punk also lost to The Rock at Elimination Chamber 2013 and may still resent the Great One for those back-to-back losses, and winning the Men's Rumble match could have serious implications. If he were to win, Punk may avoid going for Seth Rollins and instead cash in his WrestleMania title match for a shot at The Rock's newly won, undisputed WWE Universal title. Of course, for that match to happen in that way, Rock would have to win the gold from Reigns before WrestleMania, and what better place to do just that than in Perth, Australia? It was recently reported that WWE wants The Rock for the Elimination Chamber Perth event in February, and could it be that he faces his cousin at this event, and not WrestleMania? Rock vs. Roman can quickly sell out WWE's first PLE in Australia in 5 years, and a win over his cousin would be historic, and set the new champ on a path to Philadelphia and CM Punk. To the surprise of nobody, the return of The Rock trended on Twitter, as fans shared their reaction to his shocking comeback, but some took issue with The Rock's endurance during the segment. On Twitter, some mocked that The Rock seemed exhausted after hitting the people's elbow on Mahal, and said that he'll need to be in better conditioning for a showdown with Reigns. While there were many who poked fun at The Rock's proverbial gas tank, the vast majority of people were pleased to see his return, but few were more excited than Samantha Irvin. In footage caught at ringside, the Raw announcer was overwhelmed with excitement once The Rock's iconic music hit in a clip that has been going viral online. While Roman Reigns wasn't at this week's Raw, the Tribal Chief clearly got the message and responded to the Brahma Bull's tease of a challenge with a single laughing emoji. The reigning, defending, undisputed WWE Universal Champion isn't sweating his cousin's return, but why else has The Rock returned other than to challenge Roman Reigns? After the launch of TKO in September 2023, WWE's next big corporate endeavor is to find a new network home for Raw, as their deal with the USA Network will run out this October. NBCU is in the running to keep Raw on its programming slate, while there have been reports that Amazon Prime, Disney, and Warner Bros. Discovery could also be potential suitors. WWE Raw certainly is gaining a lot of attention, and what better way to prove your product's power than to have arguably the biggest movie star in the world on your flagship show? These suitors have seen this week that striking a deal with Raw could mean they get the Hollywood A-lister as well, as the Great One adds significant value to whatever project he's working on. The return of The Rock was an epic way to kick off 2024, and there's still a lot of questions to be answered, but WWE has succeeded in making a huge first impression in the new year. This week's Raw saw Jey Uso and Kofi Kingston face Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser, but this match suffered a serious problem that led to things being cut short. During the match, Kingston dropkicked Vinci mid-air, leading to a freak landing for Vinci on his head, and as per concussion protocols, the referee immediately put a stop to the contest. On Twitter, Kingston reacted to the situation, simply saying, "Damn," and it should be noted that this wasn't Kingston's fault, as this is a move he's done countless times before. Fans would express their concern for Vinci after what had happened, and in a tweet of his own, Vinci would tell fans in Italian that he is fine and was thankful for their well wishes. There is no confirmation of a concussion report, although we imagine it'll be revealed within a few hours, and WWE takes concussions seriously, hence why the ref was quick to stop the match. Vinci has said he's fine, but there could be more to come about his situation, and we are wishing the absolute best to the Italian superstar. The main event of Raw saw Seth Rollins defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre in a match that felt like a PLE bout given the weeks of build. The Scottish Warrior came out of the gate hot and took control, and given the staples Rollins received to close a wound after their last encounter, the champ was already on the back foot. With 20 minutes of the show left, both men had plenty of time to give standout performances, and it seems redundant to say that this was an excellent match with the pair working well together. Both men came close to winning several times, and even Damian Priest came out to cash in his Money in the Bank contract, only to be taken out by Drew's Claymore before he had the chance. A Claymore on Rollins nearly saw a new champion crowned, but Seth got his foot on the rope, and when McIntyre tried to put Rollins through the announce table, the champ countered and hit a pedigree. With the tides turning, Rollins hit the stomp to retain the title in perhaps the most hard-fought title defense we've seen of this impressive reign to date. Right now, Mercedes Mone is one of wrestling's hottest free agents, and while there were recently talks between her and WWE, the two sides couldn't come to terms to make a return happen. The talks were said to be friendly despite the controversy surrounding her 2022 exit, and it was WWE's side who walked away. But what's next for the former women's champion? Sean Ross Sapp noted behind Fightful's paywall that they have spoken to people recently who believe that Mercedes Mone is going to end up in AEW, but nothing is said and done just yet. He added, "One source claimed that they heard AEW and Mercedes were close to agreeing on terms, but said it's never official until it's official." It was previously noted that money led to talks between WWE and Mercedes breaking down, and Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer reported on this issue between Mone and WWE. He said, "From what I was told, they were far apart on money. There was one person in WWE who said, until she shows up and signs a contract, just remember what happened with Punk. I was told that this afternoon. Just remember what happened with Punk. I was told that by multiple people that they were far apart on money." Meltzer added that Mone wanting to continue her acting career could have also been a hurdle, and that AEW would have more freedom to act in shows and movies. With that said, Meltzer argued that WWE would probably have given her more freedom now than under Vince McMahon, simply because he's such a controlling person. Of course, until Mercedes Mone is confirmed to be All Elite, there's still a lot that could change. And what do you want to see next for Mercedes Mone? Let us know down in the comments. More from Raw now, as this week's show was the Day 1 special, and while it didn't feature CM Punk, he'll be back on our TV screen soon enough. WWE is advertising Punk's return for the January 8th episode of Raw, and while fans will have to wait until next week to see him, he was around last night. Ringside News reports that Punk was backstage during the Day 1 Raw, and this is either a sign that WWE needed him for another reason, or that he really likes showing up to work even if not needed. It was not noted what CM Punk will do during the January 8th episode of WWE Raw, and he's scheduled for the January 22nd Raw before competing in the Men's Royal Rumble match on January 27th. CM Punk has proven to be a hit with fans ever since his return, and his appearance next week will likely be no different, and we'll have to see what the best in the world has to say. Following his AEW World title loss at World's End, it was reported that MJF would be taking a break from AEW, and on January 1st, his profile was removed from the company's website. MJF has often teased that his deal would expire on January 1st, but anyone thinking that this is a sign he's no longer with AEW is very, very wrong. PW Insider reports that despite MJF being removed from AEW's roster page, nobody is buying that one of the company's top stars have abruptly left. As they report, "No one we've spoken with in the company believes he's actually gone, and this is just a storyline playing off his War of 24 stuff that he's referenced forever." It's also noted that MJF has been banged up for some time, so a hiatus will do him well right now, both for his health and to freshen him up after being a focal point over the past year. We'll have to see how long MJF stays away from AEW, as he could take a long break to heal up, but then again, you never know what can happen in pro wrestling at this point. AEW World's End went off the air with Adam Cole revealing himself as the Devil, flanked by his henchmen who were revealed as Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Roderick Strong, and Wardlow. Due to his legitimate injury, Cole watched on as his henchmen attacked MJF, but this injury and the reveal has led to questions as to what's next for the Devil Incarnate. On Wrestling Observer Radio, it was reiterated that the injury Cole suffered at Grand Slam was legitimate, and that he likely won't be cleared by March 3rd, the date of the Revolution pay-per-view. Dave Meltzer was of the impression that it's going to be longer than 2 months for Cole to be fully healed, but added that no one in AEW has given him a specific time frame about his recovery. This, of course, doesn't mean that Cole can't appear on TV in a non-wrestling role, but for the time being, don't expect Cole to get physical, and don't expect MJF at all on AEW programming. Back to WWE, and this week's Raw saw some major names, but realistically, Cody Rhodes should have had a bigger role than hyping his feud with Shinsuke Nakamura, which is almost over. Cody's promo was solid, as was Nakamura's video package, but that was it. And with no real action, this felt like a placeholder segment for somebody many predict could be WWE's next top star. More from Raw now, as in a surprisingly the first singles bout they've had, Nia Jax and Becky Lynch went one-on-one in a deeply personal bout between two former world champions. Over 5 years after Jax's infamous punch, she and Lynch kicked off the Day 1 edition of Monday Night Raw, and while Lynch got in a lot of offense, it was Jax who got the upset win. Many fans made reference to Lynch being bloodied once more by Jax, but others took aim at a major botch that happened during the match. In one spot, Lynch was draped over the bottom rope, which allowed Jax to hit a move on the man, though it's unclear what exactly she was trying to do. If Jax was going for a leg drop, then she missed Lynch by some distance, and if she was going for a kick, that did happen, but her foot barely touched Lynch's head. Jax's victory could put her next in line for a shot at the Women's World Championship, but this botch on Raw was a significant drawback from what was otherwise a great match. In tag team action, Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark defeated Tegan Nox and Natalya, as the fighters have earned themselves a shot at the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. In Women's World title action, the Creeds came out with Ivy Nile, but after wishing her luck, went to the back so that she could have the spotlight to herself for her match with Rhea Ripley. Despite being a powerhouse in her own right, Nile became the underdog thanks to Ripley's significant height and size advantage, and there were some moments of miscommunication. Thankfully, these near botches dried up as the pair found their groove, and Nile looked great once she started building up ahead of steam during the second half with some impressive moves. Dueling chants for both women turned into "This is awesome" chants from the crowd, but despite a valiant effort from Nile, Ripley hit the Riptide to get the win. This wasn't Nile's night, but the match put her on the map, and the fact that she got chants against WWE's most popular woman proves that this was a defining match, even in defeat. The Miz came out and wished the crowd a happy new year before doing his usual Miz TV introduction, but the fact he was wearing his wrestling gear teased what was coming. He tried to bring out the Judgment Day, but R-Truth came out instead, and after a little while, JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio made it clear Truth wasn't in the group. After some insults, Miz and Truth reunited their awesome Truth tag team to face JD and Dom, even though Truth still thought he was fighting on the Judgment Day's behalf. McDonough and Dom tried to trick Truth into hitting the Miz, but it ended up leading to the A-lister hitting JD with his finisher for the win in a fun match that did what it needed to do. So that was the Day 1 Raw, which had been hyped up considerably for some time, and thus the show needed to deliver. The return of The Rock was great to see, but ultimately won't impact WWE unless his match with Reigns comes to fruition, and Ripley and Rollins retained in fun matches. The Awesome Truth reunion was fun, and Becky Lynch helped Nia Jax have one of the best matches of her career, but despite all this didn't feel all too special outside The Rock's return. If anything, that's a testament to how good Raw has been every single week, as the excellent matches we saw this week could have been right at home on a non-hyped up episode. The rumored return of Andrade El Idolo didn't happen, although it would have been overshadowed by The Rock, and hopefully WWE can continue producing solid programming in 2024 after this impressive show. With this being a new year, Triple H and Nick Khan decided to kick things off with a talent meeting at this week's Raw, and while details are scarce, initial reports about this meeting have been positive. Ringside News reports that the get-together was a great meeting that aimed to rally the troops and was a rah-rah gathering where the focus was on being grateful for the talent's hard work. The meeting was also said to be about boosting morale heading into the new year and was said to be a brief and upbeat gathering. While the specifics of the meeting still remain undisclosed, it appears to have left a positive impression, fostering a sense of unity and motivation among the WWE talent. It's always good to hear about the efforts within WWE to build camaraderie and maintain a positive environment in the wrestling community, especially with big things planned for 2024. The big plans for 2024 will go ahead without Kevin Dunn, who Nick Khan thanked for decades of service in a company-wide email, and he may not be the last notable exit. On Wrestling Observer Radio, it was noted that some others may leave after him, but if so, it'll be a drawn-out process, as having too many major exits at once would not go well with the stock market. WWE pitched for Dunn to stay on until WrestleMania 40, but he wanted a clean break after announcing his exit, and it'll be interesting to see WWE without such a notable figure backstage. Now, AJ Lee's last match took place on the post-WrestleMania 31 episode of Raw in 2015, but a recent social media post has had fans speculating once more on a return. On social media, Lee shared a video of herself training in the ring with CM Punk for the wrestling drama series Heels, and in the caption said that she took a bump before going back into retirement. While Lee claims she's back to being retired, fans are still hopeful to see her back, possibly as a surprise entrant in the upcoming Women's Royal Rumble match. AJ left WWE as a three-time Divas champion and one of the most popular stars of her generation, and could she make a return in the not-too-distant future? Time will tell. Each week, WWE has hours upon hours of TV content to produce, and their commentary teams do a great deal during that time, but with the new year comes a change to the format. PW Insider reports that with the new year, WWE is going to begin using two-person booths for their commentary teams, which shouldn't affect Raw or NXT. Raw's commentary team will remain as Michael Cole and Wade Barrett, while NXT will stick with Booker T and Vic Joseph, but this change will have a serious impact on SmackDown. The Blue Brand has been using Kevin Patrick, Michael Cole, and Corey Graves, but with this change, it means Cole has been dropped from the SmackDown lineup. With decades in WWE to his name, Cole has certainly earned a lighter workload, and fans should expect to hear two voices and nothing more calling the action each week on WWE TV. In the hours before AEW World's End, allegations surfaced that Chris Jericho had acted inappropriately with Kylie Rae, which was said to be a reason for her abrupt exit from AEW in 2019. Jericho faced boos at World's End, as well as NDA and Kylie Rae chants during his match on the show, and the allegations against Jericho would overshadow what he was doing in the ring. During the post-show media scrum, Tony Khan was asked as to whether Jericho had been under investigation and wouldn't speak on the matter, as he told the press, "I can't speak to unsourced rumors. I spoke earlier and I spoke about the policy we have in place, and I believe that AEW is the safest company in the world." Khan said that he and AEW take allegations of sexual harassment seriously, though this would have come across as more genuine had he not been wearing Tony Storm's silly hat and glasses at the time. Khan stated that he has an open door policy in case anyone has any issues, but for now won't speak about the allegations against Jericho, but we'll keep following this story for further updates. It was in 2023 that WWE called up Dragon Lee, who despite this is the reigning NXT North American champion, but for the time being, fans won't see Lee on either NXT or SmackDown. On Twitter, Lee shared that due to a visa issue he can't leave Mexico, meaning he'll miss tonight's New Year's Evil show, and we're hoping this matter is sorted quickly for the popular superstar. It was on the December 9th SmackDown that Charlotte Flair suffered a knee injury which will keep her out of action for some time, and we have an update on the Queen. PW Insider has learned that Charlotte will be having surgery this week between January 3rd and January 5th, and we're wishing Flair the best and a speedy recovery. On the AEW World's End media scrum, Samoa Joe labeled the title MJF had been holding for over 400 days as trash and vowed that a new title design was coming. Joe gave no indication at the time what the new AEW World Championship would look like, but now fans have caught their first glimpse at the new gold. In a photo that leaked online, fans saw some notable changes to the design, which now features the sleeker AEW logo on a black background in the center. There are some new maps of the Earth on the side plates, which some fans believe could be used to hold custom side plates, much like the championships of WWE. The title does continue to feature the very small nameplate at the bottom of the gold, and the Burberry strap has been released for the traditional black leather. Many predict that Joe will reveal this new title on this week's Dynamite, as the Samoan submission machine is ready to ring in a new era of AEW. Last September, WWE released Elias, whose 90-day non-compete clause has since expired, but with the Elias name owned by his former employer, the ex-superstar has undergone a rebrand. In a biblically themed video shared online, Elias has rebranded himself as Elijah and hopes that fans will walk with Elijah in this post-WWE chapter of his wrestling career. It didn't take Elijah long to find work, as Wrestling Revolver revealed shortly after his name change that Elijah has been booked for their What a Show on February 17th. This will be Elijah's first match on the independent scene in over a decade, and between Elijah, Elias, and Ezekiel, we can't help but wonder what Kevin Owens thinks of this new name.